I love the idea, the thought in the lyric from Under Fire, the title track. Can't help but see the good in you slip right through me. What you're talking about right there, right, is that we're at the end of the day, we're all humans.
Yeah.
And this truth that's being thrown onto us, we can't. It's like a greased pig, right?
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
we can't grab a hold of it, even though it's right there in front of us.
It's a daily awareness. It's like it's a moment. It's a moment by moment awareness. I think you're It's not like I have it figured out. I'm set to go. It's you can do the worst and most wicked things from a day to day if you don't have your guard up and you're not aware of the war that is happening, with our flesh.
And I say with my brain, and I say my brain more than anything because there are so many things that travel through my brain sometimes. Like,
oh yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I can't believe that thought would even enter my head.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm amazed by the darkness that is creeping around inside of me somehow, and I have to tame it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Here, are we going to the identity world, kind of what we were talking about before? Because I love the lyric and wonder about the lyric, living our fairy tales we see on TV.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing too many times? Is we're trying to identify with something that isn't even attainable
I think
in this world?
I think it's just the idea, it's like something that's sold to us. It's the idea of happiness is sold to us. The idea of love for us is, what we see on what we've kind of created as a culture, what love should look like and what happiness should look like. You should look this way. Love should feel like this. It should be multiple, fireworks of feelings. And if you don't have this, something's wrong. And I think the reality of that and the dangerous place of that is that's not how love was meant to be created. Love is not a fairy tale. I think if you look through Scripture and you look at what love means from what God has sent His Son for us, it's a commitment. It's a relentless commitment through brokenness and frustration and all of that. I think if you look at the way that God has pursued me and the way that Jesus pursued the disciples, that Jesus pursued the people that followed Him, it was a relentless commitment. For as a believer, it's like that's the image of what marriage should look like is Christ in the church. And it was always a relentless, like, I'm going to pursue you no matter what. And I think love in general has been kind of hijacked and made into this thing of, if I don't feel it, then it's not there. And that's bogus. And then you have the whole self-identification thing of, how do I look? What am I supposed to look like? I think especially for women, the whole idea of them feeling beautiful and identity within that culture has really created this wicked, just destructive force that women now suffer from, bulimia and anorexia.
And makeup.
Oh, yeah. And then even with men, too, you think about how culture has hijacked what it means to be a man. What is your responsibility as a husband? What is your responsibility as a father? And I think all of our culture entertainments, not all of it, but there's a lot out there that just is very sad because men are growing up with a false idea of what it means to be a man. And I'm saying that from a sense of, I have felt that weight on my life and trying to be like, what am I doing? Am I living the way that I'm supposed to be living? Am I responsible? Am I really pursuing the life that, I'm meant to be pursuing?
Yeah, when am I supposed to be vulnerable and when am I supposed to turn into the Hulk and take care of business, right?
Sure. But just own up. Just be a man.
Right.
Like, don't be entitled. Like,
don't be entitled.
Just do it. If you look at the great generation and like my grandparents and their parents, it's like they just did it. They just got it done. And I think as further as time's progressed, it's moved away from that as a culture of men. And you have a bunch of men that are lazy and don't desire to pursue things that are responsible. And I think that kind of goes back to the innateness of who we are as people.